Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. We are group number one and we will be presenting on the new economic models where we'll be talking about policy problems, objective strategies, the evaluations, and recommendation of the new economic models. Before we start, let me introduce our group members. So first, I'm SYAZWANI binti Imran. My matrix number is 20251182555. And next to me is ALIA binti Muhammad AZNI, 20251728869, her matrix number. And the last member of our group is Muhammad SYAMIL FITRI bin JAMIL. His matrix number is 20259108831. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. I'm SYAZWANI binti Imran and I will be presenting the introduction of our presentation today. So first, what is public policy? Public policy refers to a set of laws, regulation, and action implemented by the government to achieve social and economic objectives. So it reflects the government commitment to address specific national issues. So among various types of public policies, economic policies plays a vital role in Malaysia's development. One of the key examples is the new economic policies, which successfully reduce poverty and address racial imbalances in Malaysia, followed by the new development policies later, which promoted balanced growth and income distribution. So, building on these strong economic policies, later the new economic model was introduced in 2010 by the former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Razak, which centered around the objectives of high income, inclusivity, and sustainability, which aims to guide Malaysia towards a developed nation status. So this presentation will further discuss on the NEM's background, objective, evaluation, and the recommendation for the new economic models. Thank you. So let's move on to the next presenter.
In the late 2000s, Malaysia began facing slower economic growth and a decline in global competitiveness. After rapid industrialization in the 1980s and 1990s, our GDP growth fell from 7% to about 4 to 5% in the 20s. Meanwhile, countries like China, South Korea, and Singapore were advancing quickly through innovation and technology, while Malaysia still relied heavily on low-cost labor, natural resources, and basic manufacturing. This caused Malaysia to remain stuck as a middle-income country, unable to compete with more advanced economies. The World Bank noted that the East Asia and Pacific regions has become a major engine of global growth, which shows how quickly the competition is rising in our region. Countries such as Korea and Singapore focus on technology and finance, while China and India invested heavily in infrastructure and human resources. Malaysia, however, lacks a strong innovation hub. Most of our industries, especially the electrical and electronics sector, still focus on low-value assembly and packaging rather than research and high-tech production. Although Malaysia holds 13.6% of the global E&E market, our limited investment in research and development has slowed innovation and limited high-skilled job creation. Compared to Singapore and South Korea, Malaysia's R&D spending is much lower, which makes our economy more vulnerable to global changes. To become a high-income nation, Malaysia must move beyond basic assembly and focus on innovation, technology, and higher-value industries. Malaysia has made progress in reducing poverty through earlier policies like the New Economic Policy and the National Development Policy. However, income inequality still remains a major issue, especially between urban and rural areas and among different ethnic groups. By the late 2000s, Malaysia's Gini coefficient, which measures income inequality, was still high compared to other East Asian countries. This means that wealth was not shared evenly. The rich continued to earn more, while many low and middle income families faced low wages and a rising cost of living. Although the income gap between ethnic groups narrowed between 1970 and 2000s, absolute income differences grew larger over time. The average Chinese household income remained about twice as high as that of the Bumiputra. The affirmative action policies under the NEP were meant to help Malays, but in practice, only a small elite group benefited. Some received business loans and scholarships through personal or political connections, while poorer Malays were left behind. As Dr. Mahathir Mohamad pointed out, this created a class of wealthy Malay elites rather than lifting the whole community. In short, Malaysia's inequality problem persisted not just between ethnic groups but also within the Bumiputra community itself, which weakened the goal of inclusive growth under the new economic model. In Malaysia, globalization has made it easier for skilled workers to move abroad for better job opportunities. This has led to a serious issue known as brain drain, where professionals leave Malaysia to work in other countries like Singapore, Australia, and the United States. Between 1980 and 2000, the number of Malaysians migrating overseas more than doubled, from about 120,000 to over 300,000 people. Most left for higher pay, better career prospects, and improved living standards. Research shows that the main reasons for this include limited high-skill job opportunities, low salaries, and lack of career growth in Malaysia. Many also mention social inequality and political issues as key factors. The sectors most affected are engineering, medicine, accountancy, and architecture. For example, Datuk Puakin Seng, the Malaysian inventor of the USB pen drive, said he had to start his company in Taiwan because Malaysia didn't provide enough opportunities for hardware engineers. Another reason behind these talent loss is ethnic-based policies, which sometimes favor the majority group and cause frustration among highly skilled minorities, pushing them to migrate. Overall, Malaysia's brain drain weakens the country's human capital and slows innovation. To move forward, Malaysia needs to create better career opportunities, promote fairness and inclusivity, and build an environment that values talent to keep skilled workers at home. One of its main goals is to make Malaysia a high-income nation, not just by increasing the GDP, but by growing high-value-added industries that can compete globally. This means focusing on sectors that bring in more innovation, technology, and skills, not just depending on cheap labor or basic manufacturing like before. To reach this, the NEM highlights three key factors. First, a strong and skilled workforce where people equipped with knowledge, creativity, and expertise. Second, technological innovation by using research, science, and digital tools to improve productivity. And third, private sector involvement by encouraging businesses to take the leads in driving growth and investment. The government also plays an important supporting role through research and development or R&D. Government-funded R&D helps create new ideas, products, and technologies that can be turned into real businesses. This process, called commercializations, makes industries more competitive and helps Malaysia move up to the global value chain. In short, the NEM is about transforming Malaysia's economy from one that relies on low-cost productions to one that is driven by innovations, knowledge, and sustainable growth. The new economic model introduced the Economic Transformation Program or ETP to help Malaysia become a high-income nation. The ETP focuses on 12 national key economic areas which are the main industries that can drive Malaysia's growth. These key areas include sectors like oil and gas, tourism, finance, and manufacturing. By focusing on these industries, Malaysia can make sure that resources and investments go to areas with the highest potential returns. The ETP also aims to attract private sector investment, boost productivity, and encourage innovation in high-value industries. This helps Malaysia move away from depending only on traditional sectors like palm oil and petroleum and instead grow in knowledge-based and high-paying industries. Another important part of the ETP is the support for public-private partnerships. This means the government and private companies work together to achieve long-term economic success. To support innovation, R&D and commercialization grants are also provided. These grants help fund research and the development of new technologies, making Malaysia more competitive globally. In short, the ETP is designed to push Malaysia toward a knowledge-based, innovative, and high-income economy led by both government initiative and private sector participation.
Moving on to the next objective, which is ensuring inclusiveness in economic participation. So, this objective aims to provide equal opportunities for all individuals, regardless of their socio-economic background, to participate meaningfully in this nation economic progress. So, given Malaysia's multiracial society, inclusivity is especially important to ensure that there's no group left behind. So, the government recognizes that fostering inclusive growth requires empowering both individuals and businesses across all sectors of society. So, a major aspect of this inclusivity objective is to is the empowerment of small and medium-sized enterprises or SMEs. Because by increasing the number of SMEs in every region, the government seeks to stimulate local economies, generate employment opportunities, and reduce income disparities. So SME serves as the foundation of Malaysia's economic inclusiveness by promoting entrepreneurship and ensuring that the wealth creation is not limited to only large corporations. So another essential element of inclusiveness is human capital development, because like for lower income groups, as particularly the B40, programs that strengthen education, technical expertise, and vocational skills provide individuals with better access to high value employment opportunities. Because one of the example is the technical and vocational education training TVET initiative, which equips workers with hands-on skills and critical skills in this critical industry. So through TVET, workers become more innovative, adaptable, and capable to contribute in Malaysia's transition towards the high value economy. So all in all, this objective reflects the new economic model's vision of shared prosperities, where every citizen, regardless of background, has a fair chance to contribute and benefit from the economic growth. So inclusiveness not only narrows social inequality, but also strengthens the nation's overall economic resilience and sustainability. Furthermore, to achieve the inclusiveness objective of the new economic model just now, there are several initiatives that were introduced, which is the SME's Master Plan 2012-2020 and Human Capital Development Program. So, first, the SME Master Plan was designed to strengthen small, medium-sized enterprises across Malaysia as a pathway towards inclusive economic participation. So, SMEs plays a significant role in generating employment, stimulating regional growth, and addressing income disparities. So, through this master plan, the government actually enhances SMEs' access to financing, business development services, and market opportunities. So these measures actually enable smaller enterprises to compete effectively with larger corporations. So in return, this strategy actually restores back the local economies and promote entrepreneurship and also builds sustainable livelihoods, especially in previous underdeveloped regions. Furthermore, inclusiveness is reinforced through human capital development program, which is the second initiative, which focus on improving education, technical skills, and career opportunities, particularly for low-income communities. So these initiatives such as TVET, upscaling, and vocational training actually provide Malaysians with the capabilities needed to meet the demands of critical industries. So by cultivating a skilled and adaptable workforce, this program actually ensures that all segments of society can engage in productivity of the economy. So it also promotes lifelong learning, allowing workers to remain competitive, resilient in the evolving technological and industrial landscape. So in all together, this strategy actually reflects Malaysia's commitment to inclusive growth, where economic opportunities are widely distributed and innovation is fostered, and every individual has a meaningful role in the national development for the economy.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Shamil Fitri and I will present about the third objective and the strategy. Our primary goal is to build a truly sustainable future. This means two things. First, an immediate pivot toward green technology and renewable energy is necessary to reduce pollution from industrial expansion. Second, the central focus is intergenerational equity. Simply put, the commitment is to ensure today's economic growth doesn't compromise the ability of future generations to thrive. By encouraging responsible resource use, the plan protects vital ecosystem, improve public health, and make our nation more attractive to environmentally conscious global investors, significantly boosting our competitiveness. The strategy, how we get there to achieve the goal. A smart four-part strategy is in place. Center our immediate action innovation. The plan strongly encourage the company to embrace green innovation and environmentally conscious practice. Next is investment. Priority is given to facilitating significant investment in low carbon, energy efficient solution and robust renewable energy infrastructure. And then the governance. Clear ecological initiatives are implemented to preserve our environment, protect ecosystem, and manage natural resource wisely. And the last one is culture. A committed effort promote green practices across community and industry to ensure our economic expansion is not just immediate but long-term and sustainable.
Moving on to the strength of the new economic models, where we are going to evaluate how this model is successful. So, one of the major strengths of Malaysia's new economic model is poverty eradication. So, over the past decade, Malaysia has made a remarkable progress in poverty eradication. So, the national poverty rate fell from 52.4% in 1970 to just 0.28% in 2016. And during the 10th Malaysia Plan in 2010-2015, which aligned with the new economic model, the poverty rate further declined to 2%, while the average income for B40 was just from 1,440 ringgit in 2009 to 2,300 ringgit in 2015. So this success was largely driven by the new economic models emphasizes on the economic diversification and innovation-driven growth. The model encouraged Malaysia to shift away from low-cost manufacturing and dependency on natural resources towards a high-value industries such as advanced manufacturing and services. So this transition actually expanded job opportunities, raised household incomes, and strengthened economic resilience. So, according to the IMF and OECD, this reform actually enhances Malaysia's financial and industrial sectors and sustained for 4 decades of inclusive growth by moving forward from agricultural based economy to a modern and service oriented one. Other than that, this success was also driven by the direct poverty alleviation measures from the government, like the Bantuan Rakyat One Malaysia BRIM Cash program that was introduced in 2012, which also aligned with the new economic model's inclusive objective by providing financial support to low-income households. Furthermore, fiscal measures like taxes, transfers, and subsidies has also helped reduce income inequality, which elevates the poverty's rate. So, furthermore, uh, human capital development also play a vital role in this success because the investment in education, skill development, and healthcare enhance productivity, social mobility, which further empowered Malaysians to access better job opportunities and improve their living standards. Moreover, TVET programs had upskilled low-income groups for modern, high-value jobs and also emphasized inclusive workforce participation, and lifelong learning. Because according to the OECD and World Bank, education and skill development underpin long term inclusive growth. Thus, its outcomes demonstrate that sustained policies like consistency and innovation led growth were the key to lifting more millions of poverty and improving national well being. Thank you. Now, moving on to the next presenter.
The new economic model, or NEM, marked a major shift in Malaysia's economic strategy from a government led system under the NEP to a market friendly private sector led approach. This shift aimed to make Malaysia's economy more dynamic, competitive, and innovative so the private sector could drive growth instead of relying too heavily on the government. However, Malaysia's growth slowed after the 1997 Asian financial crisis. Private investment dropped, and the heavy presence of government linked companies or GLCs made it harder for private firms to compete. Issues like bureaucracy and inconsistent policies also discouraged innovation. To address these challenges, the NEM introduced 8 strategic reform initiatives, starting with re-energizing the private sector. This includes reducing GLC dominance through privatizations where possible, encouraging public-private partnerships, supporting local innovations and procurement of homegrown products, and improving university-industry collaboration in research and development. For example, programs like the Knowledge Transfer Partnerships KTP and institutions such as UKM Holdings help connect universities with industries to commercialize research and improve graduate skills. Another example is Malaysia's electrical and electronics E&E sector. It shows how local companies can grow from small firms into major players with R&D and engineering expertise. This capability can even support new industries like electrical vehicles if given the right opportunities. In short, the private sector-led approach of the NEM strengthens Malaysia's innovation ecosystem, attracts investment, and builds a more sustainable, knowledge-driven economy.
Now, I will present about the weaknesses. The first weaknesses is regional inequality. A major concern is regional equality. The rapid growth we see in urban centers like Kuala Lumpur and Selangor create a dramatic gap. Vital rural states such as Kelantan, Sabah, and Sarawak unfortunately lag far behind. The geographic imbalance prevents national prosperity from being truly shared. Second one is ethnic equality. Currently, certain groups, particularly the Chinese Malaysian, continue to dominate high-income sector. In contrast, the participation of Putra in this valuable industry remain limited. Addressing this structural imbalance is essential for a cohesive and equitable economy. The third one is structural and policy weaknesses. Our current system suffer from structural and policy weaknesses. Many market-based reforms implemented over the year have failed to address long-standing inequalities. This failure leaves small Bumiputra businesses facing significant financial and competitive disadvantage, trapping them in a difficult cycle. The last one is limited education and social mobility. Poor access to quality education and skill training often trap low-income families in poverty generation after generation. When talent cannot rise based on merit and opportunity is limited, the entire economy loses out. In summary, the pervasive issue of regional and ethnic disparity coupled with weak policies and limited social mobility create a complex obstacle. Our strategy must be designed to directly and aggressively tackle these 4 points to ensure prosperity reach every citizen. The second weaknesses is weak implementation and monitoring. The first problem is an ineffective execution and monitoring framework. We find the structural and institutional barrier constantly hinder progress on the ground. The framework designed to deliver change often get tangled in red tape and fragmented authority. Second, there is a fundamental lack of precise timeline and measurable indicator KPI. When precise targets are missing, it becomes extremely difficult to accurately assess performance and critically ensure accountability for outcome. What get measured get managed, and right now too much is not being measured effectively. Slow progress in key sector. This is particularly evident in areas crucially for our future economic competitiveness such as human capital development, R&D commercialization, and the implementation of technical and vocational education and training TVET program. The pace simply is not fast enough. Finally, we struggle with weak accountability and oversight, inadequate management, inconsistently monitoring, and minimal transparency all work together to reduce public trust and allow poor performance to persist. For the public to buy into this vision, they must trust the system to deliver. These weaknesses, lack of structure, poor metrics, slow action and weak accountability are the final obstacle we must overcome. With this identified, the transition to our recommendation must be focused on building a resilient system that can monitor and enforce change effectively.
Moving on to the first recommendation is to update and align the new economic model with the current national development framework, which is 12 Malaysian Plan and Madani Economic Framework. This is said because by integrating this new economic models principle into these newer plans, the government can actually ensure that its long-term development goals remain relevant and consistent with the present economic challenges and opportunities. For example, the 12 Malaysia plan has already been realigned with the Madani economy, which aims to empower and stimulate the national economy for over the next decade. So this actually demonstrates that Malaysia has the ability to adapt past policy into the new economic direction and into the new frameworks. So this alignment not only reduces policy fragmentation, but it also strengthens the coherence across national strategies. So this actually ensures that the NEM's key pillars, that is inclusivity, sustainability, and high income growth, continue to guide Malaysia's development agenda in the future. Thank you. Moving on to the next presenter.
The next recommendation is strengthen education and human capital development. Sustaining national competitiveness require immediate target reform of human capital development centered on both skill, acquisition and equity. The primary focus must be to align education with the job market needs, equipping students with critical thinking and practical skill. Strengthening TVET and enhancing STEM or digital education is essential to prepare youth for modern industry and strategically reduce reliance on foreigner workers, boosting the prospect of the B40 community. Furthermore, we must embrace the continuous nature of learning by promoting early education and lifelong learning. The workforce can maintain adaptability in a rapidly changing economy. This comprehensive strategy must be anchored by increased support for the B40 community through scholarship, directly tackling opportunity and income gap to unlock the full potential of every citizen.
The next recommendation focuses on setting a clear timelines and key performance indicator or KPIs. This is to strengthen the implementation of the new economic model. So, according to OECD Economic Survey, Malaysia must enhance their public sector governance and efficiency to achieve a high income status. Without a clear goal, Malaysia risks a vague expectation and weak accountability. Therefore, each NEM program should adopt the SMART model. This is to ensure objectives are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. For instance, a measurable goal like increasing private investment by X percentage within in 2 years, or reducing a poverty by a target rate by Y% in 2026. So by doing this, it actually enable a better evaluation and resources allocation. Furthermore, regular progress reports should also be shown quarterly or yearly that must be published to the public to ensure a transparency and accountability of the governance. Thus, by setting a smart goal and measurable KPIs, Malaysia can create a result-oriented public sector, data-driven decision, and ensure that the NEM's reform deliver tangible improvement in living standards and equitable growth. Thank you. Moving on to the next presenter.
One key recommendation to strengthen Malaysia's new economic model or NEM is to further empower the private sector as the main driver of economic growth. Although the NEM aims for a private sector led economy, many barriers still exist, such as bureaucracy, red tape, and inconsistent regulations. To fix this, the government should make business processes easier through digital one stop platforms for registration and licensing. Clearer and more consistent policies are also important to build investor confidence and attract both local and foreign investment. At the same time, Malaysia should expand public private partnerships or PPPs, especially in areas like infrastructure, technology, and renewable energy. The private sector often has better expertise in managing complex projects efficiently and on time. As highlighted by Datuk Khalilur Rahman, private investment can create a multiplier effect, boosting local industries, technology, and jobs. By reducing bureaucracy and supporting private initiative, Malaysia can fully achieve the NEM's visions of a competitive, innovative, and sustainable economy led by the private sector.
In conclusion, the new economic model helped Malaysia grow by creating more jobs and improving the economy. the country is now focusing more on industry, business, and technology instead of farming. However, development is still not equal because cities grow faster while rural areas are left behind. Education and training are very important to close this gap. Programs such as technical and vocational education and training give students practical skill, and Malaysia is ranked 7 in Asia for future skill. Early education and lifelong learning also help Malaysia become more skilled and confident. To make the new economy model stronger, the government, private companies, and citizens need to work together. Real success means not only becoming richer but also giving everyone equal opportunity to improve their life.